Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
The Palm Beach Drama Workshop, I have to just say, this is a little bit different from Palm Beach Dramaworks, but it's exciting. And we now have the manager of this new, I guess it's a new production or new workshop. I don't quite know what you want to call it.
Well, the Drama Workshop itself is actually a new division of Palm Beach Dramaworks, and it's the New Play Development Division. And what we do is we curate a season of submissions and of new plays from playwrights all over the country. And we read through them. There's a company of resident artists who read through the new plays, and we determine if the play is a good fit for Palm Beach Dramaworks, if it aligns with the vision of Palm Beach Dramaworks, and if the new play is going to go into workshop or receive a developmental production or just have a reading, or perhaps even go onto the main stage as a world premiere.
Oh, that's very exciting. So
it is really exciting, actually.
So my guest is Jeremy Quinn, and he is the Drama Workshop manager at Palm Beach Dramaworks. And I see where you launched this in the fall of 2014. What gave them the idea to do this, Jeremy?
Well, the idea really is that if we don't curate and work on new works, new plays, we're going to run out of stuff to produce. Eventually, we'll have done it all. So you have to be responsible as a regional theater to search out new works and help playwrights develop new works. And something that our artistic director, William Hayes, said to me once, which I found really profound, and that is every play at some point, every play or every musical at some point was a new work. And it resonates with me every time I think about it, because the pieces that we know now in American theater canon, whether it be Annie or whether it be Long Day's Journey into Night, at one point was a new work. It was freshly penned, and at one point it was read by people, and it was the playwright worked on it and tweaked it and fixed it and did all kinds of things to get it to the point where it was ready for production. And so it's a very responsible thing to do as a regional theater to help playwrights usher their work into, the foray, as it were. And the way to do that really is by workshopping the piece. So we get submissions from playwrights all over the country. We read them. If they're well put together, well written, and if they align with the vision of Palm Beach Dramaworks, which is theater to think about, then we look at it further and we determine, what's the next step for this play. And it's really exciting because you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to fall upon, and you may just encounter the next, Wicked. You don't know, It's just a wonderful opportunity to explore new works. And I'm just so pleased that Palm Beach Dramaworks regards new work as highly as it does.
Okay, so I have a few questions. I'd like to know your background, but before I do that, I want everyone to know that the developmental production, Domestic Animals, by Jennifer Folletto, I guess Folletto, is that correct?
Folletto. Mm-hmm.
Folletto, will be January the 13th to the 22nd in the Pearlberg Studio Theater, and it's right there at Palm Beach Dramaworks. Where's the theater? Upstairs?
It's upstairs, yes, indeed.
Okay, now, and before you tell me about yourself, I just had one other question. So when you decide on a, this is not just a reading, this is a full production.
Yes, this is a play that came to us a couple years ago, and they did a reading of it, and then it went into a workshop, and then we just did a work session on the play with 3 actors and a director and the playwright. And now it's going into what we call developmental production, which is basically the last step before like a main stage production. And the developmental production gets a bit more attention, resources, bells and whistles, a set, costumes, lighting, that whole thing. So it's very much like a studio production you would see off-Broadway, for example. That's what it's akin to. It just doesn't necessarily have all the financial resources and big team of people that a main stage would have.
Well, that's excellent. And so I was reading a little bit about the play, and it's, of course, always something important when you see where there's the Vietnam War. We always get back to that now. But I wanted to just ask you about you, because you must be pretty special, because I do know the founder and of course, the artistic director, and they're very particular,
Well, thank you. That's very kind.
Have you been working with them all along?
I joined the team in August of this year, actually. And I actually am from South Florida originally. I was born and raised here and went to University of Miami and got my degree in performance, and then moved to New York. And I was in New York for 22 years. And as an actor, a director, producer, teacher, coach, you name it. And I actually became the producing artistic director of White Plains Performing Arts Center in White Plains, New York, which is just north of the city, about 40 minutes north of the city. And I was there at White Plains for about 10 years. And then I moved back this past summer. I moved back to South Florida, primarily to help my parents out, but also to explore the theater community down here. It's kind of interesting. The theater community in South Florida exploded right after I left in 1994, and so I missed this huge movement of an expansion of the South Florida theater community. But I also had the opportunity to go to New York and work in New York, and was extremely fortunate on many, many levels to experience everything I experienced, and do a couple national tours and film and television and voiceovers and direct off Broadway and you name it. I was very, very, very lucky. And I had a couple opportunities to assist on Broadway shows, and these are things that I would not normally have gotten a chance to do had I not taken that leap of faith.
Well, it sounds like they certainly got someone very experienced and who is back here in South Florida, and I pay tribute to you that
Thank you
came here to help your parents. How are they doing?
They're doing great. They're doing great. There's nothing very serious, of course, but I would rather spend quality time with them now.
Yes.
And help them out at different times or whatever. My mom loves having me back, of course, because I've been gone for 22 years.
Right.
But it's nice, and I miss my family. I missed my family a great deal when I was up north. And the thing about New York is it's very work-oriented, and I worked a lot, and there wasn't an opportunity to travel down here as much as I would have liked. Of course, I did come home for the holidays every single year. I never missed a holiday in 22 years. But there's something to be said for family, and there's something to be said for quality time with your family, and I'm very, very lucky to be able to put my foot back in the theater community and back into the pool down here, so to speak.
And you did it at one of the finest theaters, no less. I'll tell you
Thank you.
That's really, you don't know this, and just as a coincidence for you, I was chairman of the board of that theater when it was the Florida Repertory Theater.
Wow.
For 7 years. And we put on a lot of shows there, and that's not when Clematis Street looked like it does now. So we had to have police on the outside, but it was, and they didn't do the serious plays that are going, that I admire so much about Palm Beach Dramaworks. But we did big things. In fact, I used to be upset because I said, we don't have the money to do, Man from La Mancha and everything.
Right.
So,
right.
But then, of course, after, and I think after we closed, then there was another theater that came in, and it wasn't what you were. But I used to go to see this little theater that seated about 99 people many years. That William Hayes and his wife were, and I love that theater. It was like, it was up close, and you were there. Did you ever see their theater? That was
I did not. No,
goodness!
They came into being after I was already
wow.
in New York.
That was real theater, and I guess people just said there are not enough seats. We need to. So somehow they
and that's
had
a good problem to have.
Yeah, but they also then found some wonderful people who loved him and believed them in and were able to sponsor them. So you're sitting on a golden goose there. It's just beautiful. And I just thought maybe in the next time we have here to talk, tell me a little bit about the writer.
About Jennifer Folletto?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, I'll tell you what I know. I know that she's from Colorado. I know that she is also a performer. And I'm trying to think what else I know about her.
Well, let's see. It was saying that she went to Second City Conservatory, that her plays have been developed by and produced at the Great Plains Theater Conference. I just wonder, and of course, this sounds like it was something in her life. I mean, I'm not sure, because how could someone explore war the way she apparently has done if it wasn't really something she experienced? Isn't that usually true?
Usually, it depends. This actually isn't as much, the play isn't as much about war as it is what happens on the home front. And that's what is actually interesting, I think, to me, is the effects of the Vietnam War on the folks that remained here, especially someone whose brother enlists, or her husband enlists, and her brother dodges. And so that puts her in a situation where she's very much torn. And it's fascinating to watch this woman go through what she goes through. It's very miraculous, and it's a fascinating piece, an absolutely fascinating piece. And the acting is superb. Oh my goodness! Oh, that's the thing that I remark quite a lot is the work that gets done at Palm Beach Dramaworks is as good as anything you would see in New York.
Absolutely, I agree.
If not better, and on some levels, if not better.
Well, the seating makes it exciting because you're right there. There's not a bad seat in the house. Maybe this is a good time for me to tell people how they can buy tickets, because I want people to go. This is going to be, I guess, the previews on January 12th, but it's going to go from January the 12th to the 14th, and that's going to be the evening performances. And let me just get this right, though. It's more than that. You're going to be doing this from January the 13th to the 22nd, really. Mm-hmm. And let's give you a phone number that you can buy tickets, and that's 514-4042. That's 514-4042. And I also have to put a plug in for all their other shows, of course, at the Palm Beach Dramaworks. So if you're someone that's been going there, this is a new edition, and I am sure it will be as high quality as their as the shows that they put on. So let me ask you this one thing, though. What about, and you have a set design, you have everything, don't you? It's full.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are you using the same set designer from the theater?
We are, actually.
Busy guy.
He's a very busy guy, but he's also one of the most talented scenic designers I have come across in a very long time. He's extremely, extremely talented. It shocks me what he's capable of doing. He's really fantastic.
And so opening night really would be January the 13th. Oh, it's already sold out. It's already sold out. Forget that, everybody.
Oh, look at that.
That's what it says. But you can go after that. You have evenings, let's see, and I think there's some matinees. What you have to do is you have to call and see what's available. Now, this is the nice thing. The tickets are only $25, except for the preview performance, which is $18. Wow.
I can't even see a movie for that anymore.
I know. This is great. It really is wonderful. Tell me, you were talking about the actors. Are they local?
They are local, yes.
And are they Actors Equity, as so many of the shows?
They are. They are indeed, yes.
Well, I guess people, this is it. People are hungry, aren't they, for good plays that they can be a part of. And money is important to live, but it's more important because this is their art. This is their work. Isn't that true?
It's very true. Very, very true.
The name of this, Domestic Animals, that's a great name, isn't it? Are they animals? Are they really? Do they act like that?
Well, it brings up, really the play itself awakens our primal instincts and how we manage that, in the face of war and separation and family and trauma and healing and love and all these things that happen in our lives. And the play really touches on all those things. And it's the nice thing about the Drama Workshop and the development of new plays in the Perlberg studio is that it's an immediate and visceral experience. Not to mention the fact that the playwright's going to be there. There will be talkbacks, and we want to hear what the audience thinks about the play. And so the audience members are actually getting a chance to be involved with the development of the play itself by giving their feedback. So they're getting involved. They're having a voice in where this piece of art goes from this point. And that's also really exciting. That's worth the price of admission in and of itself.
Right. And is Jennifer an actress? An actor also?
She is.
And so she's in this?
No. She's not
in this, but
no,
she is.
She
is an actor, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so because I bet that's unusual, isn't it, for someone to write it and be in it, isn't it?
It is unusual. The off-Broadway play that I directed, actually, the writer was in the play.
Oh, really?
Which was it was actually a great experience because if there was anything that I felt I needed to ask, he was right there. So it was actually very practical to have him there.
Absolutely, but I just wondered if it's a little bit harder because they're so emotionally involved.
It depends. It depends on the playwright. Some of them are able to detach and remove themselves and let someone else interpret their work, and others, are very, very, they hold on very, very tightly and are less open to changes or criticisms or whatnot. But I have to say, one of the things that really landed for me when I worked with Jennifer over the past couple weekends ago, we did a work session. One of the things that I really felt about her was that she was very open and receptive to what people thought about the play, and she was extremely receptive and collaborative with the director, Margaret Ledford. And it was a great experience to watch these folks work together and make decisions. And she would go home and do rewrites and come back the next day and with a whole fresh scene or some changes, and we would work on the changes. And it's a fascinating experience to watch something get developed and grow. And when you think about it, the playwright has a blank page in front of them or a blank screen in front of them when they really, really start at the very, very beginning. There's nothing on that page or that screen. And then to end up with something, months, years, whatever later, a piece of work that is like the Mona Lisa hanging in a museum. You know what I mean?
I love it.
It's really the development of something like this is so exciting. And it's exciting that Palm Beach Dramaworks believes so much in the development of new plays, and that we, curate and sort of take them under our wing and give them a home, nurture them along, and before they're sort of ready to be set free. And it's just a fascinating experience to watch. And as an audience member, to be able to buy a ticket to something and watch it develop it right in front of your very eyes, and then be a part of the conversation about not only the subject matter, but also the experience of a new work and what what that's like. I just think it's an amazing opportunity.
Yes, and we are so fortunate to do this. In fact, I have, of course, gone there for so many years, and I've heard them as they announce this, but you actually, Jeremy, have made me now want to go to see it. I mean, it sounds funny. I'm very, very busy, but you have absolutely enticed me. So,
well, super. I'm glad to hear it.
You are. You're so good, and I'm definitely going to make a date and get there because I love this. Are there other theaters in South Florida doing this?
There are. There are several theaters in South Florida. In fact, there was a recent article in American Theater Magazine that was written about how much new work is being produced in South Florida. You have theaters all the way from Miami to Vero Beach putting new work into their season or focusing a little bit on developing new work. And it's miraculous, actually, for me to see so much new work being done and focused on in South Florida, because a lot of people in New York think, oh, well, Florida's full of a bunch of retirees, and all they want to see are musicals, and they only want to go see Hello, Dolly, and whatnot. But it's not the case. It's not the case at all. There's a lot of theater goers who actually move down from New York, and they want to be challenged, and they want to think, and they want to see things that aren't fluff. They want to see things that aren't the national tours of the latest Broadway shows. They actually appreciate what it means to sit in an audience 5 feet, 10 feet away from the actors. They appreciate that experience. And there's so many different companies. There's a few. I want to say so many. There's a handful of companies in the South Florida area that are focusing their attention on new work and the development of new work. And it's when you think about it, you realize the importance of new work is tantamount to continuing live theater. If we run out of place to do, and we don't have live theater to go to anymore and take our kids to, then our society, there's going to be a breakdown of our society, if you ask me, because that experience, you cannot duplicate that experience by looking at a screen. You just can't.
No, but something else you said, which is, I think, really important. Many people in the audience, although they've gone to very serious plays, they don't really know what happens to make this happen. They don't know what the back part of it. And now what you've done is you've given them something very exciting to see. And then when eventually it comes out on main stage, they'll say, well, I was there and I had a comment, and now, so this is exciting stuff that you're doing. This is not play games. I love this. And I'm so glad that, you took the time today to do this. As a matter of fact, Saturday, I'm going to see True. I haven't seen that yet. And I hear that's also very wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Of course, what do they do that isn't fantastic?
I
right?
I know. It's very true.
Yeah, and everyone's so dedicated there. I mean, there's some people whom I knew years ago that were there too, and they've come back. But you're the people who are your owners. I mean, the artistic director and your executive director. They're so involved in this. They love their audience, and that's really important. They care about them.
Yeah, and they also appreciate and know from a very intrinsic level the importance of theater and the impact of what they're doing, and that's a very, very big deal.
Right, and I guess it's when I spoke with. Let me just try to remember this. I talked to Bill Hayes, and I think once a year he does a show that's very dear to his heart. I don't know if it's what it is. It's something, I forget now. But and not all the audience doesn't always appreciate it, but he says, I've got to do it for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I forget what the genre is, but it's something. And it's pretty serious.
Yeah, well, Bill is really, really great at putting together a season, and I'm as a fellow artistic director, I appreciate the thought that goes into planning a season, and he's right on the money when it comes to his approach to putting together a season and how to put together a season. And you have a little bit of something that everybody knows and that is a crowd pleaser. You have a little bit of something that challenges them, and then you want to look at some new work too. And so I love the variety in his approach. And you're right, he really knows his audience. And what's really nice to see too is he's so supportive of this development of new works because he understands the importance of it, and it's magical to watch.
And so you get a lot of plays, and you have to take time to read them, and then
Yeah.
I guess you discount some, and then you get together and figure out this has possibilities, but then when you really start looking at it as a play, maybe not, but that's a wonderful thing. Well, I have to say, I can't wait to meet you personally because...
Thank you, Anita.
Yeah, I think they really found a great guy to carry on what they do. So, Jeremy, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing one of your great shows.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time and this opportunity.
Right, and I want everybody, please do call. Let me give you that phone number again. It's 561-514-4042. 514-4042. Thanks so much, Jeremy.
Thanks, Anita.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.